The clock on the wall read 2:37 a.m. After a grueling day at SpaceX, Elon Musk slumped over his desk, his fingers still hovering over a half-written email. His body refused to fight the exhaustion any longer, and within seconds, he drifted into an uneasy sleep. But when his eyes opened again, something was wrong. The hum of computers, the soft glow of monitors, the familiar purr of his Tesla, gone. Instead, he stood in the middle of an endless field, the scent of fresh soil filling his lungs. Towering oak trees lined the horizon, their leaves rustling in the gentle wind. The sky was an endless blue, untainted by the smog of modern industry. This isn't real. Elon turned, confusion tightening his chest. There were no satellites, no Wi-Fi, no signs of technology, just farmland, stretching as far as the eye could see. Then, from the distance, a lone figure approached. Tall, composed, wearing an old military coat that looked like it belonged in a museum. His presence radiated an air of authority, yet there was something familiar about him. The man stopped just a few steps away, his sharp eyes studying Elon, George Washington. Elon's heart pounded. He blinked rapidly, trying to process the impossibility standing before him. First conversation. Elon, staggering backward. What the hell? Washington, calmly. You are on my farm. The question is, why are you here? Elon, that's what I'd like to know. Washington remained silent for a moment, then let out a slow, knowing smile. Washington, you will. But first, there is work to do. Elon tried to protest, but Washington had already turned away, walking toward a distant barn. You have a list of tasks for tomorrow, Washington called over his shoulder. We start at sunrise. Go to sleep. The morning sun burned bright over the rolling farmland, casting long shadows across the field. Elon Musk stood there, still in disbelief. Yet despite his protests, George Washington offered no explanations, only a simple instruction: get to work. Task 1. Elon was handed a small bag of seeds and told to plant them. No instructions, no context. Some areas had dark, rich soil, others were dry, cracked, and seemingly lifeless. He hesitated, then began planting. The dry ground swallowed the seeds without promise. This is pointless, Elon muttered. Washington only watched. Task 2. For hours, Elon worked alongside the farmers, plowing fields, carrying heavy sacks under the relentless sun. Sweat dripped down his back. He wasn't used to this. No machines, no AI, no shortcuts, just hard work. Every muscle screamed in protest, but Washington remained silent. Task 3. As the day dragged on, Elon was sent to a town market, where a group of men sat discussing farming techniques. He tried introducing ideas about soil science and crop rotation. They laughed. That's nonsense. Tradition works just fine. One scoffed. Change is dangerous, another muttered. Elon clenched his fists. They refused to listen. Exhausted, frustrated, he felt like he had just relived every time someone had doubted Tesla, SpaceX, or Neuralink. But why? What was the point of all this? That night, under a sky littered with stars, Elon found Washington sitting by a fire. The warmth flickered against the great leader's face as he finally spoke. Washington. Frustrating, isn't it? Elon. You think you've had me working all day, planting seeds in dry land, laboring like a farmhand, and getting mocked by people who refuse to change. Washington smiled as if waiting for that exact reaction. Then, in a slow, deliberate voice, he shared his wisdom. Liberty, when it begins to take root, is a plant of rapid growth. The best ideas, like seeds, need time, freedom, and the right soil. Some will thrive, others won't, but you must plant them anyway. Happiness and moral duty are inseparable. True fulfillment isn't found in money or success alone. It's in doing work that matters, work that contributes to something greater. It is better to be alone than in bad company. Visionaries often stand alone at first. The mockery of skeptics is proof you're ahead of them. Never let them stop you. Elon sat in silence, absorbing every word. Suddenly, the fatigue of the day felt different, not pointless, but meaningful. As the fire crackled, Washington stood. Tomorrow, we continue. Elon looked up, his mind whirling. The morning mist clung to the earth as Elon Musk stretched his sore limbs. Another day in this strange, exhausting world. Washington stood waiting, his arms crossed. No words of encouragement, no explanations. Observe, work, lead. That was all he said before walking away. Elon exhaled sharply. Fine, let's get this over with. Task 1. For the entire day, Elon watched. The workers toiled. Some moved with diligence, others with laziness. Some worked together, others alone. Then came the order, choose one to guard the farm's supply house. Elon hesitated. Who could be trusted? The strongest? The smartest? The one who seemed the most loyal? After much thought, he chose an older man with quiet determination in his eyes. He wasn't the fastest nor the loudest, but he had worked relentlessly without complaint. When Elon announced his choice, Washington merely nodded. No praise, no confirmation, just silence. Task 2. A vast, untouched field stretched before him. Washington handed Elon an old wooden plow, stripped of any modern efficiency. Plow the field, he ordered. Elon scoffed. With this? But there were no shortcuts, no machines, no engineers to optimize the process. Just him, the crude tool, and the land. Hours passed, his hands blistered, his back ached. Each row felt heavier than the last. By midday, he collapsed, gasping for air. He looked up at Washington, expecting him to call off this insanity. Instead, the general only said, "Do you now understand?" Elon wiped sweat from his brow. Understand what? Washington said nothing. Again. Task 3. Drained, sore, frustrated. Elon's final task was to lead a team of workers to irrigate the crops efficiently. He quickly realized the issue. The system was outdated. The workers moved without coordination, wasting time and effort. So he changed things. He assigned roles, designed a new flow, and ensured water reached every section of the field with precision. By the end of the day, productivity had doubled. The workers, who had doubted him before, now followed his lead. A small victory. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Elon sat by the fire, exhaustion weighing on him. Elon, why? Why all of this? What does it prove? Washington, sitting across from him, finally spoke. Be courteous to all, but intimate with few, and let those few be well tried before you give them your confidence. Trust must be earned, not given freely. You chose your supply house guard by observation, not assumption. That is leadership. Do not let ambition surpass your abilities. Ambition without preparation leads to failure. You thought intelligence alone could conquer the plow, but raw effort matters too. Example, whether it be good or bad, has a powerful influence. A leader's greatest power is action, not words. You led by restructuring the irrigation system, and the workers followed. Elon stared at the fire, the weight of the lessons sinking in. Washington stood. Tomorrow you face the greatest test of all. Elon swallowed hard. Something told him, tomorrow wouldn't just test his strength, it would test his soul. The sun barely crested the horizon when Elon Musk awoke. His body still ached from yesterday's relentless labor. And yet, another day of strange trials awaited him. Washington, standing at the edge of the field, greeted him with a nod. Observe, struggle, understand. No further explanation. Elon exhaled sharply. Fine, let's get this over with. Task 1. The first task took Elon to two vastly different homes. First, he visited a grand estate, a wealthy landowner who had everything money could buy. His mansion loomed with luxury, his fields abundant, yet his face was twisted with stress. I have to guard my wealth, the man muttered. I don't trust anyone, not my workers, not even my own family. Despite his fortune, his eyes carried fear, exhaustion, and loneliness. Later, Elon visited a small farmhouse where a poor farmer worked tirelessly. His home was modest, his possessions few, but he laughed easily, embraced his family, and welcomed Elon with open arms. "My life is simple," the farmer said, "but I sleep well at night. My work is honest and my heart is full." Elon frowned. How could a man with nothing be happier than a man with everything? Washington remained silent. Task 2. Back at the farm, Elon was given an odd task: cleaning and preparing old weapons. Elon rolled his eyes. There's no war, no enemy. What's the point? Yet, Washington soldiers treated the preparation with the utmost seriousness. Every blade sharpened, every rifle checked, no shortcuts. Task 3. The final task was the most frustrating yet. Elon stood face to face with a powerful, untamed horse. His challenge? Tame it. He tried to mount it. It threw him off. He tried force. It resisted harder. He tried coaxing. It refused to trust him. Every attempt ended the same: failure. By the 10th time he hit the ground, Elon was seething. This is impossible. Washington simply watched. No sympathy, no instruction, just watching. That night, as Elon sat with Washington, exhaustion weighed heavier than ever. He turned to Washington, frustrated beyond words. Washington, for the first time, looked amused. Then, in a calm voice, he revealed the lessons. Human happiness and moral duty are inseparably connected. Wealth does not guarantee fulfillment. Purpose does. The landowner hoarded riches but lacked peace. The poor farmer worked with meaning and found joy. Being prepared for war is one of the most effective means of preserving peace. Strength is not for battle, it is for prevention. Those who prepare in peace avoid disaster before it comes. Friendship is a slow-growing plant and must undergo shocks of adversity before it is entitled to the appellation. Trust is not demanded, it is earned through struggle. Like taming a wild horse, relationships take time and trials to grow. Elon sat still, the firelight flickering in his eyes. For the first time, he didn't argue. He simply understood. Washington stood, his gaze sharper than before. Tomorrow, you face a truth few men ever dare confront. A chill ran down Elon's spine. What could be more challenging than this? Elon stirred awake, the early morning light filtering through the farmhouse window. But something was different. Beside his bed lay a small satchel. Inside, neatly folded, were his modern clothes. His Tesla t-shirt, his comfortable jeans, his signature jacket. It was time. Stepping outside, he found George Washington waiting. Standing tall, his hands clasped behind his back, he placed a firm hand on Elon's shoulder and said, "Greatness does not come from technology or wealth, but from true leadership, responsibility, and the wisdom to prepare for the future." Elon swallowed, his heart pounding. Before he could speak, a gust of wind rushed through the farm. The fields blurred, the trees faded, the world around him vanished. Elon blinked. He was back in his office. His head was still resting on his desk. His computer screen still glowed, the email he had been writing frozen in time. His body jolted upright. Had it all been a dream?